Welcome, everybody, to the October meeting of the Southampton Village Planning Board. Mr. McFarland, the chairman, is not here tonight. He asked me to fill in for him. Could I have a motion to open the meeting?
Make a motion to open the meeting.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 The first item is an extension request by Hampton's HDA LLC at 116 North Sea Road. Applicant request extension to February 3rd, 2020. I think we were going to reach out to the applicant.
Mr. Gilmartin is here.
No,
Dave?
this is not.
No.
This is not his.
This is the,
Gil
I'm sorry. I did speak with Mr. Flanagan. I discussed it with him, sorry. And they are making good faith efforts to conclude this, and I see no objection for good cause shown to grant the extension to February 3, 2020.
May I have a motion then to extend the Hampton's HDA application to February 3rd, 2020?
I make a motion to extend it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain from voting because I voted no on the
Aye.
original.
Aye.
So 3 ayes and an abstention. Public hearings, the 134 Murray Lane. The first item we need to address on that is a negative declaration with regards to the SICRA impact, which are out.
You can do that at the end of the public hearing?
I think the public hearing, we didn't formally
We
close it.
haven't started the public
Right.
hearing yet.
So, okay,
This is an
great.
extension. This is a
Okay,
second.
excuse me.
Good evening, John Bennett and Reed from Southampton. So this is an extension of the public hearing. I'll go over it briefly for the benefit of anyone who wasn't here. Lot 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 on the Murray Compound subdivision back in '76 have covenants restricting the number of beach access points. We sort of think that this is probably not the best thing to happen on the beach, since it actually it doesn't create a situation which eliminates traffic, because the people will just travel over the beachfront to do that. I think we have the concurrence of the board. From what I understand, I think we have the concurrence of your consultant. I just want to let you know, we represent the owners of lot number 8. We do have a letter of approval from lot number 9, lot number 7. I spoke to Mr. Mendick today, who's the owner for the council, and he said I was authorized to convey to the board the fact that the owner of lot number 7 has no opposition to removing it. So I don't, unless of course there are any other comments or questions or concerns or members of the public, I don't think I have anything else to add. Pretty straightforward.
Thank you. Does anybody in the audience wish to comment on this application? Well, I know you wanted to get a letter from everybody involved in the project, but in view of the fact that we've had 2 public meetings, nobody's come forward with objections. You do have letters of non-objection from the neighbors on both sides.
And then that leaves the 2 lots further to the east. I did send them, in addition
Right.
to the regular notice, I sent them specific.
I think you've
Sometimes people see a certified mail on that, and then I sent it regular mail, hoping that somebody, a lot of times people don't pick up a cert, what's that? So then I sent it regular mail, but
I think you've done your due diligence, and in view of the fact that that the proposed walkway is environmentally beneficial as opposed to people just trotting all over doing all over the place, I think you've done all you need to do.
okay, thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Thank you.
So we have the negative deck, and I forget how to do this. I haven't done it in a while. We have to make a motion to approve the neg deck.
Correct.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the neg deck.
Do I have a second?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So you have in your file a resolution approving this application as submitted. Therefore, you can close the public hearing and vote to approve the application. It's subject to the recording of a covenant in the county center approved by the village attorney. And whether that be a complete rescission of the covenant or an amendment has yet to be determined, because there's one other provision in the covenant about a reservation of building near Wickapog Pond, and I'll discuss with the applicant's attorney whether or not, since 1976, current laws have obviated the necessity of that part of the covenant. If they have, then it's best to just rescind the covenant, and if not, then amend it. So you can vote to close the
So
public
I
hearing.
would make a
and approve
motion
the
to
application.
close the public hearing and approve the resolution in favor of the application of 134 Murray Lane.
Correct.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Do we have an original one?
This is the original. I have to sign this.
No.
Oh, this thing?
This?
No, I don't have that.
Oh, are we supposed to have an original?
Yeah,
of
there's an
this?
original in the file.
There it is. Originals on that, so we don't. Need all of that.
All right, so there's the secret doc.
Wait, okay, all right, that's fine.
Okay, now we have I'd like to open the public hearing for 1 Hampton Road, J&H LLC.
For the applicant, John Bennett, I'm handing up the affidavits of mailing and posting. This is the old, it's the old town hall, and it's the old Saxford Avenue building. Now it's Pottery Barn. That tenant is moving out. That tenant takes up the whole building, which is, it's not only the old town hall, but the annex, which was originally built for, I guess, the Justice Court originally. There was some issue there was a mistake that had been made in the floor plans as originally submitted, because it showed a separate unit on the existing floor of the second story, of the, what I call the old town hall, the pre-annex town hall. It's a main, old historic structure there that we're all used to seeing. It turns out that would be both the first floor and the second floor of the old town hall building. Pre-annex will be just one unit. So the idea is to convert this into 3 retail units. Candidly, the client hopes that we can get someone to rent the whole thing, but it becomes more and more difficult. So for flexibility, the idea is to have the property maintained for the possibility of 3 separate retail units. The 2 units in the annex, which we show as Retail Unit 2 and Retail Unit 3, are in excess of the minimum size requirement for a village business space. This was the subject to, we were found, the kind help of the building department, we did find a very, very detailed site plan, which had been approved at the time that the annex was built, with drainage, et cetera, et cetera. I know Kathy wanted to see if there was some way to create a better handicap striping. We obviously have no problem with that as a condition whatsoever, and we'll work either in the field or however Nelson Pope wants us to work to improve some of the handicap striping there. For whatever it's worth, also the client came to me. They had required the building, but hadn't, as required by the village law, obtained a CO in the name of the new owner. I guess a lot of out-of-town lawyers aren't aware of that requirement, but we did file for, and on the 25th of September did obtain certificate of occupancy number 15072 for the two-story commercial building with attached one-story annex, so everything is legal. So the attempt here is to create 3 separate retail units, 2 of them somewhat small, but nevertheless in the annex, but nevertheless conforming with the minimum size requirement for a retail use, and then the other unit would be both the first and second floor of the what I call the old town hall building. We've made arrangements so that each one of these units would have their own separate American with Disabilities Act compliant access. There's no increase in the square footage whatsoever, so parking isn't an issue. And again, it would be nice to have a tenant to take the whole building. I think everyone would like that, but we have to have a little bit of flexibility here to see if we can achieve that, since the Pottery Barn folks are leaving. And that's all I have to say. I think we filed the short form EAF on this. We should have, yeah.
When did you, I'm sorry, if maybe you've already gone over this, but I was under the impression that you were going to subdivide a top floor, bottom floor, and annex. I thought those were the 3 uses, so.
Oh, no, it's always been 2 units of the annex, and has been always 1 unit of the old town hall building. There was a mislabeling, which Kathy pointed out, which led some ambiguity. Okay, Zach, you found it. That's it, yeah. And there was a mislabeling on the top, which has been taken care of.
Got it.
So, yeah, it's 1 unit, which is the first and second floor of the old town hall building, and the other 2 units on the annex. It's really the only way you can lay out because of the handicap access issue without, I really don't want to screw around with any of the facades here. I don't want to have that challenge because it is a historic building. And the old town hall does have an elevator, so handicap access isn't an
It's
issue.
inside that unit that would make a difficult
Yeah, it would.
issue
Yeah,
of trying to
you'd
get
have to
adequate
travel
view.
from, you'd have to go through the first floor to get to
Yeah.
the second, and it just never really works, so.
And we talked about restriping the parking lot, wasn't that
Do that, or you want
something that was discussed under this?
to, however,
So the
I'll do whatever you want to do on
the
that.
handicap parking spaces aren't compliant with the standards, so we were trying to see if we can get it to be a little closer to what's required.
okay.
And just the parking lot, could use restriping, so.
How should we do that? Do you want to make it a
It
condition
should be-
based upon your field inspection? You can lay
It
it
should
out? or-
be some kind of a layout that's shown, sure. that-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, glad to work on that.
So.
Yeah.
And then there were just a couple of little things that if the plan hasn't been submitted as it is, it really should have a revision date, so that way they can differentiate it.
We did resubmit it. Did you?
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't,
Yeah.
okay.
Did you not see, the one sometimes I always try to get people to save me a copy when they submit the
Okay.
copies, and sometimes they do. The one I'm working with is, hold on a second, please. The one I'm working with is I marked up the pen with pen to show that was the 1 unit, but I know we did submit the surveyor about a week ago, or not the surveyor, but the architect about a week ago, gave us plans, revised plans to show the fact that it's only the one unit on the old. We filed full-size revised floor plans of the village plan on, Thursday, October 3rd. Thursday, October 3rd, we filed full-size revised floor plans to the village.
What was the date of it, though?
That's a good question, Bo. Let me see if I have, hopefully in other words, was a revision date put on it? If not, of course we will,
Just
because
make-
otherwise it gets messy. Yeah, there's no
It's
question about it.
difficult to,
October 3rd. Hold on,
Okay.
what do we have here? Yeah, you're right, there's no revision date on it. It drives me crazy. You're right. I don't see, it just says August 15th, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, let me get a revision date put on.
So
That
there were
drives me
just a
crazy
couple
too.
little minor things I put in a memo that just related to, I didn't understand that the unit one, which is the one on the corner, so the accessible entrance is actually through the rear, or is it on
The
Hampton
accessible
Road?
entrance is the rear. The only way you get to that,
Okay.
the front door is up the
Another one.
stairs.
So they have the ramp, that's the reason I'm asking is the proper, that area, where it says ADA accessible ramp.
It's on the front, right?
Yeah, so that
That's-
makes it look like that's an accessible entrance as well.
Oh, it is, yeah. That's the problem.
When you go in the building, there's a ramp already in the building
Yeah.
up,
It's already an accessible
so
ramp.
it looks like they're
so-
just taking a door and gonna move
Oh,
it
that's
over.
right. I'm sorry. Forgive me. There is an elevator to get from the first to the second
Okay.
floor. But to get into this, the unit one, they stole from this, the westerly part of the annex. They stole a little bit, see this square
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
So that you can get in there and go up this ramp, because there is a very significant, there's an existing ADA ramp in the, that's how you used to get that's how you used to get, that was the only way to get in there, ADA accessible. You'd enter through the
Between
sacks
the-
here, and then this wall is, obviously is not here now, but is proposed to be here, to take it, to divorce it from these two units. But you'd walk in this door and one of these doors and walk up this ramp to the building proper.
And do we know if, is there a sidewalk next to the entry to the parking lot on the east of the building? Just because if someone's gonna be parking in the handicap spot in the back of the building, they're gonna have to go around the building to use the ramp to get to the,
I believe there's a ramp there.
Is
that-
it-
That
I
goes.
think like between the guard and the building, there is a, it'd be right.
Well, in other words, you're talking about the north side of the annex?
Yeah, but to get, they're gonna park in the north side of the building,
Mhm.
and they're gonna have to go around the
No.
east side of the building,
East side of the building, actually, where they have the handicap stalls,
right there?
right there.
Okay,
So that's really the best place for them, so.
Walk right up to this.
okay. I just was seeing if they, they gotta get around.
Mhm.
This is all this is just sidewalkish.
Yeah, I know that's all. I just didn't know if there was any, if they were gonna
Yeah, I think that's pretty
Going
good,
through
so.
that.
So the only other thing was just to usually put on the plan that you're reopening the doors, and the doors in the rear have been sheet rocked off.
Okay,
So that really should be clarified on the plan,
okay.
and that the accessible access to Unit 1 is going to be provided by that entrance on Hampton Road. So, the other one, the one to Unit 1, sorry, the one in the corner, the one
Oh,
we
that
talked
this,
about.
this is, access for unit one,
Yeah.
ADA
Yeah.
access for unit one. I got it, okay. Okay, we can do that.
John, how many retail units are in the brick building?
Huh? I'm
How
sorry.
many retail units are in the brick building?
Just one.
Just one, and then
One or
two in the
story,
annex.
And then two in the annex, yeah.
And Pottery Barn's definitely not coming back?
I'm sorry.
Pottery Barn's definitely not coming back?
Yeah, unfortunately. It's hard to get a big tenant. I assure you that they made attempts to keep them. It was a bit of a surprise when it closed. Well, I shouldn't say it's a surprise. He obviously looked at all the leases, knew that there was a risk that they may not come back, but
Mhm.
we decided not to. We can thank Mr. Bezos for a lot of this stuff, right? Unfortunately.
I was in Pottery Barn the other day though and tried to buy a chair that was in there, and they told me they wouldn't sell it to me, and I had to order it online. I was like, I want this chair right here. I have money in my hand. So
Really?
yeah, they're like, go order it online. It's like,
Oh
all
my
right.
gosh.
Like, go away, you're bothering me?
Yeah, exactly.
That was their display.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
I think if they were moving out, they'd have
That's
a
what I
moving out
figured.
sale or something, but yeah. So that's where we are.
So, public comment.
Is there anybody in the audience who would like to comment on this application? No. Well, I don't think there's anything controversial about it, so I would then say that
Make a motion.
we would want to move the neg deck. Could I have a motion to approve the neg deck for One Hampton Road?
Make a motion to approve the neg deck of One Hampton Road.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And now I think it's appropriate to have a motion, if we could, to close the public hearing for One Hampton Road.
Make a motion to close the public hearing for One Hampton Road.
Do I have a second?
Well, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
I have a real pretty one here.
Sorry.
All right, there's that. Okay, the next item on the agenda is 140 Duck Pond Lane, public hearing.
For the applicant, John Bennett, Bennett and Reed. This is sort of unusual in that we have two lot owners on the subdivision of Duck Pond Farm, the owner of lot number 1 and the owner of lot number 2, that have come together to purchase lot number 3, which is the lot in between 1 and 2. And there was a single-family residence there. They demolished the single-family residence, and the concept here is to take the remaining property and split it between lot number 1 and lot number 2. The nice thing about it, in addition to reducing the density, is that because the lot was approved when the property was in the R80 zone and the property is now in the R120 zone, the addition of half of the property to lot 1 and the other half to lot number 3 will result in those two lots becoming conforming lots. So we're reducing the density and taking two lots that were non-conforming and now making them conforming lots. Lot 1 would end up being 121,520 square feet. Lot 2 would end up being 121,492 square feet. So somebody got a little bit of a better deal, not by much. But in any event, that's where it is. Kathy asked that the change be made on the map because the zoning was shown as R80, it's now R60, and those were, as I walked out the door, I called up Squires and Holden, they were still printing them, so and I didn't want to just come in here and plop them on everybody's desk, so I'll deliver them to the building department tomorrow, if that's okay with everybody. But pretty straightforward, very straightforward. Taking one lot, divvying it up between the two property owners to make the two now non-conforming lots conforming, and reducing the density by 1.
Thank you. Does anybody in the audience have comments on this application? Well, I think in this case, all the good things are happening, so I'd make a motion, if possible, to close the, vote on the neg deck for Duck Pond Lane.
Make a motion to approve the neg deck for Duck Pond Land.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now I think it's appropriate to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing on Duck Pond Land.
You have a second?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I wish all my applications were like that. I'd probably live long. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
there's that. Moving into site plan, 9 Main Street. Kathy, I didn't have a chance to read your
Okay.
email.
It's real, it's longer, it's very wordy way of saying that I compared the prior plans that were approved by the planning board and the current plans. I looked at the health department approved plan and then the floor plans and the resolutions and conclude that what they're showing is exactly what they're saying they're doing. They formerly had approval for retail space on the second floor. They're now proposing 2 offices. And though that has the same parking requirement as retail space, it has a slightly higher sanitary flow rate, the way you calculate it, but they went to health department with that non-medical office flow and have an approved sanitary system. One thing that they didn't mention is that they now are putting in an IA system, which is something that they hadn't on the prior plans. So we'll get some pre-treatment then, treatment of the sanitary wastewater. And so there's really no reason to have a public hearing on this. There was a public hearing on the original application. There was a public hearing because it had expired and they resubmitted. There was an extension recently to that application, and we've had no comments recently. And this is just a minor change as far as the board is concerned. So I would recommend that no public hearing be required and that the board make a decision on this.
I think we approved this application, wasn't that long ago, maybe 2 years ago at most.
17 was
Yeah,
the
2 years ago, and there
second
wasn't
time.
any opposition to it at that point. It's exactly the same thing that's happening, so unless anybody on the board or Bo, you object, I would agree to waiving the public hearing.
Yeah, I don't think a public hearing is necessary, and Kathy tells me that they're already constructing.
Yeah, they've had a building permit for a
Yeah, so
while.
a building permit has been issued, so my suggestion would be to close the matter for all purposes, subject to a resolution available at the next meeting. It's not going to hold them up whether you did it tonight or not. It'll give me the opportunity to write it.
Make a motion to close the matter for all purposes, subject
And
to.
authorize council to draft a
Authorize
decision.
council to draft a resolution.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in
Sorry.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, BRL Hampton Road.
For the applicant, David Gilmartin Jr., Farrell Fritz, 50 Station Road, Watermill, New York. Tonight, we're going to ask you for an adjournment to your December meeting. I understand the matter's been on the calendar for a while, and there's been some controversy on the property. I asked the owner of the Spur to come forward and provide you with an update to what's going on. So I'll ask Ashley Heather to address the board on our request.
Thank you, David. Good evening, board.
Good evening.
How's everybody? Good. So I think most of you are familiar with the project and concept of what we're doing. We've currently been operating in Southampton at the train station. We have a second location that we opened up in April in East Hampton, providing very similar office-type co-working to those residents in the area. We have about 150 active users of the building from time to time, not simultaneously, but from time to time. The business is now profitable in both locations. It's less than a year old, give or take, 16 months old. So it's been a lot of work and effort to get something from the ground up to becoming profitable in a relatively short period of time. Taking a lot of hard work from a lot of different people. Switching to 630, which is our dream build-out to expand the concept, providing more facilities, more offices, more parking, the things that are being requested of the members that we have in our current facility. We have a dispute with the landlord. The landlord was brought in to acquire the building after I had negotiated to buy the building. He wasn't a previous landlord. He was brought in as part of the deal. He's also an equity owner of my business, so he is also a participant in the upside of this business if it takes off. He has a particular DNA and character as an individual. Lots of people know him, know his DNA. And he's a deal guy. He likes money. And he sees an opportunity to leverage what we're doing to make more money. We have a 25-year lease with him for that building at a very affordable price. My only assumption is that he is trying to leverage us to renegotiate that lease to get more out of it than we're currently paying. We've made numerous offers over the last 60, 90 days to continue the construction, to put more money into the building. He is fighting to get the building back from us. We're fighting to continue to keep the building on our side due to the good deal that we have and the vision that we have for this project. It has certainly not been an easy 3 to 6 months of going through this process. I feel we are getting towards the end of it. We have some new, fresh investors who we've been working with, who are very supportive of what we're doing and will likely give us the ammunition that we need to clear this all up and to remove Lewin out of the building completely and to kind of carry on with the project. So the vision hasn't changed, the project hasn't changed, what we want to do with the building is still the same. So I would hope that all the hard work, money and expenses that we've spent to date, we can kind of adjourn for a couple of months so we can get this all settled. And then hopefully in 2020 continue with the project. Any questions?
Sounds like in February, this is just basically going to start. Have you done anything with the site plan? Has that been updated or finalized? You still have to go to the Board of Appeals for numerous variances?
So the issue is, well, the variances have really been, they're relatively simple. I don't want to speak boiling about what we're looking to do in terms of variances, but the challenge is from a financial...
What do you mean by simple? Do you mean easy to obtain or?
Well, we're in front of the zoning board, but the process, I think the point that you're trying to make is that we've come to a relative halt, which is
Right.
accurate. That's an
Right.
accurate statement. So we've been to the board once, presented, we need to go back, but we've been on a halt because of the litigation.
So has the day the zoning variances changed from the initial proposal to now? Will they change by February?
No, they won't change.
Okay.
The project concept and scheme, we're not looking really to change it. The challenge has been that I have financial partners in the business. If we're going to lose the building, which is an if, then obviously they don't want to commit more funds to that part of the project until the building has been, secured 100%. So that's essentially what we're going through the process of is securing that building.
Have they kept you on the agenda with the zoning
Yes.
board?
Yes.
And did you guys get approval from them to push back on the agenda? Were you trying to get adjourned to December? Did you go to them and get adjourned?
Well, we're on at the end of this month
Okay.
with them, and we'll make the same request.
And you're going to request to December?
Yes. It'll give us some time. And part of it is we don't want to waste your time coming and doing a full-on presentation when, we're just not sure how this is all going to shake out. That's really the basis of the request. It's also, in a real life situation, the application fee on this is over $10,000. So withdrawing and coming back when it figures out would be a pretty significant expense. So that's why the real basis of our request for the adjournment is we don't want to have to repay that application fee. It's challenging.
You guys think by December it'll be cleared up? Like, what are the chances there?
Well, I think it'll either be cleared up or it won't. It'll be, it's gone in our favor and we figured it out, or we decide to, move on a different path, and then we wouldn't be asking for the same, adjournment and so forth. So. Thank you.
What's the date of the December meeting that would be?
He's asking, were you asking to February?
December,
December?
Yes.
Summer meeting's being
Actually,
changed.
there's,
December 2nd meeting is
It would be
is not
January,
changed.
to January, kick it out to January 6, 2020.
So there is a December 2nd meeting.
Yeah, but
But
that's not
that's
going to be
fine.
enough time.
Just one thing is that there's not, there's nothing in the file for us to review and have a meaningful discussion at the work session, then it should be adjourned again at that point with, hey, we're going in this direction and.
No, you mean
so-
December?
Yeah.
No,
so-
kick that to January 6th.
I mean, we want.
All they're going to do is come back in December and say they're going to make a presentation in January.
So,
Okay.
so I make a motion to adjourn the application for all purposes to the January 6th, 2020 meeting.
Right.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, Riverhead Building Supply, 40 Powell Avenue.
Bill Lombardi from the Rayner Group, representing Riverhead Building Supply.
Kevin Goodale, Riverhead Building.
The application that you have before you is to remove an existing glass vestibule that's about 73 square feet and replace it with a larger vestibule, about 192 square feet. That's all that's being proposed, no other changes to the building or to the site.
So Kathy, you were questioning at the work session about basically going over the entire plan for any inconsistencies?
Yeah, it's any time a site plan is approved, then that, and there are conditions related to a site plan approval, then you come in for another one. It's an opportunity to look and see how you're doing with the prior site plan approval. So we were going to contact, I talked to Bo about this just now, the building inspector, and have him take a look, pull the existing site plan and any conditions were on that. I did count the parking stalls, and it did include the ones that are along the rear property line. Those aren't real parking stalls, those are used for storage. So I don't know if there's anything else that is in non-conformance. So this doesn't seem like a big deal. And it seems like a small improvement that will make it a nicer entranceway. Doesn't take away any parking spaces. So in general, it seems like a very easy thing. But if there's any problems at the site, then we just want to make sure we're not making a recommendation that, move ahead without having input from the building inspector. So that's really all I have.
And with respect to the parking, there is quite a bit of parking that's inside the fenced-off areas, gated areas, and they're used for storage. This is, the parking is based on a retail use for the entire site. This is not your typical retail use.
There's also additional parking inside the building, which we discussed about, because the back
Yes.
building you can
Right.
pull in and park.
Majority of the people don't park. It's like a drive-through, so they come through the building and leave. So we try not to make everybody hang out in the front.
And there is parking available for employees across the street. If it ever became an issue, we could certainly remove some of the area that's used for storage and use those areas for parking again.
We'd ask about the handicap, I'd ask spots on the survey, were those updated? Because they weren't labeled on the survey, any handicap?
Right. I went and checked, and there is handicap, and we haven't restriped just because we want to do the construction there, but
Yeah.
the handicap is along the side of the building there, and obviously it'll be all redone again when
Yeah.
we do the
I
construction.
just want to make sure they're labeled on the survey.
We can certainly show that. We were waiting, we didn't know if Kathy was going to prepare a report, and we would have to address any other items, so figured we would do it all at once.
Well, my sense is for, an 80-square-foot addition, you don't want to open up an entire review of the entire property. But by the same token, I'm not inclined to set a precedent that we don't look at it at all. So Kathy, I think your idea is a good one. We can let the building department make their recommendation about whether things are in good shape or not, and whether it requires further review or not. You agree, Bob?
I do, but I also suggest that, given the nature of this, that you might want to consider setting up a public hearing for January 9th so they can move forward.
January or November?
January,
6.
No, it'll be November.
sorry, November.
Yeah.
I was skipping months too.
Sorry. November 6th, is it?
I saw there the concern on the face of setting it up 3 months from now.
November 4th, does that sound right?
We're all confused because they decorate for Christmas like Labor Day.
I've got my hand on the other one.
November
November.
4th is a Monday.
November 4th.
November 4th is a Monday, yeah.
November 4th. That's a great idea.
You know, Chris can have his report in within a couple days, I would think.
Okay, gentlemen, would that be?
Is that good? So you know what to do for the public
Okay.
hearing.
Well, and those posting and notices.
Right.
Okay.
Does this have to go to ARB after us? Because you guys are making
No, I don't think so.
changes, or-
He's in the center of the lot with the expansion.
Mhm.
I think it triggers any setback issues.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So is there a motion necessary to adjourn for all purposes?
Motion then establish the public hearing.
Motion to adjourn for all purposes at the request of the applicant to the November 2nd meeting and.
November 4.
November 4, and schedule a public meeting,
Hearing.
Hearing,
I'll second that.
public hearing on that day.
public hearing on that day. We have a second, all in
Yes.
favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, 99 Sanford Place is a minor two-lot subdivision.
For the applicant, David Gilmartin Jr., Fowl Fritz, 50 Station Road, New York. It is a two-lot subdivision in the OD district on Sanford Place. The last time this was before the board, you asked for some information, which we provided in a memo. I know that Kathy has reviewed it and is going to make a recommendation under SECRA. Our review would indicate that we do need relief from the zoning board for the right-of-way access. You need 25-foot wide access for each lot. These two lots will actually have the 50 feet, but one of them is over a right-of-way instead of it being owned by the property. So I believe that's the one variance that we'll need from the zoning board, which, as we go through the review process, and if Kathy concurs, we'll submit that application.
My interpretation is that it actually needs, it's 0, because you can't count the easement as
Right.
lot width, so, I mean, it is lot width that it is, it's not actually frontage, so, but yes, that you would need, you need 0, you need 100, you're providing 0 for that lot, and then 24.75, I think, is the other.
24.75, we have a variance for from a previous
So that.
subdivision.
That's where I need Bo's input on that. But the other thing was the SECRA, that we talked about doing this as a coordinated review, just to make it simpler when they get to zoning board that there's only one SECRA determination. So, if this board wants to start that process to become the lead agent, then you can make a resolution, and I'll get the letters out tomorrow. And I sent a draft around of the notice of lead agency determination, and actually, I had January 6th in it, so it's all of us. We can't make the November meeting because it's not going to be 30 days, but we can make the December meeting, so I'll
That would be
correct
our
to
request.
December
To
2nd.
start the secret.
Yes.
Are you guys going for a change of zone on the property too? Just leave it. It's okay.
Yeah.
What's it, R75? R12?
It's an OD.
OD.
It's office district, right?
The intent, I mean, you said that the intent is for residential, but if you split it, you could still have 2 offices. but
Ultimate,
actually,
yeah,
you
right.
could
We'll
have
need a
two.
special exception
Yes.
application.
I am told by my client that the application right now is for an OD. He has some plans, but I think he's trying to figure it out.
Yeah, but a single-family residence in the OD is, you may need two because you already got a building there that's office that's being converted to a residence.
Well, it's not being converted as of now. There was
No,
some
but I-
discussion, which, I didn't want to bring up now and talk
all right.
about. There was some discussion by them, but they have not made that final determination, so we're moving forward with the subdivision.
So just the subdivision.
Just the subdivision is what's on the table now, and if that comes in, we'll have to do the special exception application to the zoning board.
So we need to have a motion to initiate the lead agency determination. I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And now a motion to adjourn at the request of the applicant for all purposes. The 99 Sanford Place subdivision.
And that would be to the December meeting, because the secret won't be completed.
Okay.
Which December meeting?
December 2nd.
December 2nd. So a motion to adjourn at the request of the applicant for all purposes, the 99 Sanford Place application until the December 2nd regular meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay. I don't think we need to address Donahue Silvitz because it's been adjourned.
Actually, you have a resolution in your file approving the request for an extension. We sort of approved that by consensus at the last meeting, but this is the resolution and
This is the resolution.
documents the efforts, thanks Dave, documents the efforts to continue this. The project basically was complicated with the health department. It is complicated with the health department because it involved a non-residential property, which was the house that is an apartment building. That involved a different set of regulations versus a single-family dwelling, and now they're into the approval phase for the subdivision.
So I make a motion to approve the resolution of granting the applicant extension to the February 3rd, 2020 meeting.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Then BLC Hillside Investments, 122 and 132 South Main Street. There's a new memorandum in the file from you, Kathy.
Yes. So, in a nutshell, they need to make some additional submissions. We had talked about them a little bit at the work session, one of them being the updated driveway plan that was included in the original subdivision, as well as this is new. This was the new one. Since that subdivision was approved, there's a new regulation for having parking in residential properties. And since they're making that front lot smaller now, they need to demonstrate that they have enough area to park the cars for that property. So I spoke with Bower about it to make sure that it made sense to ask them this. But they are making the lot smaller, they are moving the garage, they're reconfiguring the back a little bit. So it does make sense. I thought I had a picture in here of what it looks like. But that's something that we would have them do either a separate plan or as part of the subdivision plan, lot line modification plan. That's it.
So you're saying that the lot line modification may make it, or is questionable, if there will be enough space on the existing lot of Lot 1 once they change it around.
Right. Yeah. So they need to demonstrate where those, where those parking stalls are.
Does the fact that there's an existing garage protect them from that requirement until they get rid of it? Not really.
Not really, I don't
Yeah.
think so. I mean, the garage is going to be relocated, I mean, maybe
Right.
the spaces can be provided in the garage,
Right.
but, so it looks like they have at least 2 or 3 in front
Basically,
of
you
the house.
just need a plan with dotted lines showing where they're gonna put this stuff.
Right,
Right.
but I don't have any information on how many bedrooms there are, and there's certain rooms that count towards bedrooms, even though they're not bedrooms, like dens and offices. So to calculate the number of parking spaces, we'd need that information. So
Right.
we should ask them for that.
I think that's reasonable to ask for. So what are we waiting for to do on this?
Once we have a complete application, then we can schedule this for a public hearing.
Okay, so we're waiting for them to resubmit their application. Okay. So, motion to adjourn.
Wait a minute. Let me just see my notes. Actually, no, this was scheduled already for a public hearing on November 4th. That was voted on at the work session.
Oh, okay, we need to
Okay.
update the minutes then, I mean, not the minutes, the, whatever this is called.
The agenda.
Yep.
All right, then it's been adjourned for public hearing to be held on November 4th. All right. All right, well, that concludes the agenda, except to discuss whether we want to have a meeting New Year's Eve with lots of alcohol, or have a combo meeting on January 6th. I think combo.
Combo.
All right. So make a motion to cancel the December 30th, 2019 work session and hold a combination meeting of work session and regular scheduled meeting January 6, 2020 at 5:30 PM. Does anybody second that?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Just one thing, at the work session, the September 3rd minutes were approved, but the August 26th were not approved because Zach wasn't there.
Right.
So you need to vote on August 26th, and then, well, you don't have to vote on September 30th, but,
I'm pretty sure,
yeah, so just August 26th.
I think I was here, and I think Jane, Pam, and I were here August 26th.
I think so. I don't think I was missing.
Okay. Alan, Jane, Pam, and Roy were present, Zach was not.
Okay. So, is there any objection to approving the minutes from August 26th? No. I make a motion to approve the minutes as written for that meeting of August 26, 2019. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We'll have a work session October 28th at 5 PM here, and then the next meeting will be November 4th at 5:30 PM here. Can I have a motion to close the meeting?
Make a motion to close the meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.